Hello, welcome to Stoner Nation. Sorry for that little second delay. My timer didn't go off and tell me we were going just yet. And I apologize for that. Now, this is a little unusual for me, guys. And yes, I'm adjusting my camera. I'm sorry. I had to. Also, I'm going to dim my light a little bit, guys. That's okay with y'all. I just redid the studio a little bit. Alrighty. That work? Do I need a little brighter, guys? I think I need a little brighter. No, I need a little brighter. I'm sorry about that, guys. Like I said, I just remodeled the studio. Apologize. I'm going to restart the audio file. Alright, so like I was saying, guys, welcome to Stoner Nation. It's great to have you guys here, and I really love doing this podcast for you guys. But I have decided that today needs to be done something special here on Stoner Nation. And that is, we are going to discuss something that's happened in Massachusetts, as soon as I get it up. Alright, here it is. Now, according to Local 12 News out of Boston, Massachusetts, which is WKRC. Boston, Massachusetts, a state could become the first to reverse its legalization of marijuana. According to The Independent, Massachusetts could become the first state to repeal legislation that legalized the sale of marijuana. Per the report citing information from the Boston Globe, anti-marijuana activists said they collected enough signatures to force a referendum that would once again put the issue on the ballot for November's midterm election. Massachusetts first legalized recreational use of cannabis when base staters voted in favor of legalization in 2016. The Independent reported that Wendy Wakeman, a Republican strategist who also acts as a spokesperson for the group behind the effort to end marijuana sales, Coalition for a Healthy Massachusetts, said she is cautiously optimistic that the referendum will move forward. Now, the response from the marijuana industry has responded to the threat of the referendum in part by forming the group Stop the Repeal. The publication reported the group hopes to make the case for legalization by pointing in part to the tax revenue generated by marijuana sales in Massachusetts, per the report. I hope everybody understands how real of a threat it is, Ryan Dominguez, the chairman for Stop the Repeal, said when speaking to The Independent. The fact that we've got in here today is absolutely insane, the president of Caxley Containers, a Massachusetts-based cannabis packaging company, said per the report. If we are significantly outgunned and we don't get our messages out, then there's a risk that they could win. According to The Independent, some of the groups that are opposed to the legalization of cannabis said they're not pushing for tougher policing and are more concerned with the commercialization of the substance over the last decade. Opponents of the legalized marijuana said they've identified the following concerns per the report: social problems linked to increasingly potent cannabis products, increased marijuana use among young people, and deteriorating road safety due to intoxicated drivers. I don't think people voted for a pot shop on every corner, smelling weed everywhere they go and having to protect their kids. Kevin Sabat, the president of the Virginia-based anti-cannabis group Smart Approaches to Marijuana, said, according to The Independent. The publication's report states that the Smart Approaches to Marijuana has donated $1.5 million to the campaign in Massachusetts, with Sabat reportedly stating, "We're finally having some buyer's remorse." The report further states that the smart approaches to marijuana has faced criticism for attempting to influence policy surrounding marijuana in states beyond Virginia after the organization donated to a separate anti-cannabis movement in Maine. Now, of course, I'm going to sign in and say something on this. I'm going to do it. Because, obviously, these people haven't done the research in these anti-marijuana campaigns. Obviously, nobody's done the research. Now, I am going to tell you why I am going to write. And y'all are going to love what I'm going to say. Alrighty, come on. Of course we're lagging, but basically what I'm about to tell these people is that up until 1937, 98% of the big pharma medicines were produced using marijuana and cannabis-derived products. It wasn't until 1937 under Harry J. Anslinger and the Gore Files that marijuana was officially called the devil's lettuce and was racially targeted, and people were racially discriminated against and targeted under the marijuana laws at the time, which the marijuana law at the time was the Marijuana Taxation Stamp of 1937. Now that stamp, literally, if you go back and read the Gore Files, which are the actual testimony from the Federal Bureau of Narcotics Investigation, which later became the Department of Drug Enforcement Agency, otherwise known as the DEA, under Harry J. Anslinger at the same time. He was the first head chairman of both, by the way. Quote, unquote, was stated, and in writing of his own handwriting, very racial slurs about what marijuana will do and the type of groups of people marijuana will bring into his, quote, unquote, pure white neighborhoods. Now, with that being stated, he went to California, New Mexico, Texas, areas like that, and saw minorities who were happy and go lucky despite being discriminated against. He created the Gore Files. Now, you can look all this up. It's in the Truman Library and the Library of Congress. Now, he was a Republican. And for those of you who don't know, I do like to say stuff about in favor of Republicans. But I will also turn around and tell you that there is no actual group out there, political side, that is against racism. They all say they are, but then they pull shit like this. Now, they're saying marijuana is harmful. Now, that was only stated in the Gore Files in the 1930s in order to illegalize marijuana. About how harmful it is, led to murders, insanity, hallucinations. Y'all go back and watch. Go to my YouTube, or do you want to just go into YouTube in general? Look up Reefer Madness. ReeferMadness. And you're going to see the drama, what they thought how dangerous they thought marijuana was at the time, despite doctors and big pharma saying otherwise. Now, with that being stated, we also have to take into account that we're dealing with a bunch of Yankees. I'm just going to put it blatantly like that. You're from above the Mason-Dixon line, you're a Yankee. But besides that, we're also dealing with idiots. We are dealing with pure-blooded idiots in this aspect. What was the what was the person's name? Where is it? Where is she? Where is it? She's a Republican. Where is it? Wendy Wakeman. For starters, it's the biggest idiot of them all. I can't say she's the biggest idiot of them all. I will tell you, she doesn't have a brain cell. And she can come on my podcast and debate me all she wants. I welcome it. I will provide the facts. I will provide the information that will shut her up and make her rethink what she has to say and make her realize that she's a racist pig. I will do that. I don't care. Anyone who wants to debate me about marijuana and the benefits of marijuana and the facts behind the real reason why marijuana is illegal, can come and debate me. Run it. I welcome it. Because all the information I have, you have access to. And if you can't argue with the information I have provided, and you don't care to try to research what I have and come at me, well, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. Let me inform you of something. Everything you state dates back to the Gore files and the racist pig called Harry J. Anslinger and the crimes he committed in order to get the marijuana taxation law passed, and then the crimes he committed in the 1960s to get marijuana put as a Schedule 1 narcotics under the Controlled Substance Act. Okay. He was in charge of both of those. Yeah. A man who openly used the N-word, openly used racial slurs about every race other than white people, made statements to Congress that were racist. That man who created the decriminalization of marijuana is now being quoted by Wendy Wakeman. Being quoted by, where is it? Where is the idiot from Virginia? Kevin Sabet. I am doing an emergency podcast on something going on in Massachusetts that needs to come to an end. We as a nation need to come to an end and put an end to it. Because Kevin Sabet and Wendy Wakeman are using racial reasoning, without knowing they're using racial reasoning, to re-illegalize marijuana in the country. Recriminalize it. And for example, Kevin Sabet was quoted as saying, "We are finally having some buyer's remorse." Guess what, bro? I regret to inform you, Kevin Sabet, but you might want to go to the Truman Library and the Library of Congress and look up the Gore files. You might want to look that up and look up Harry J. Anslinger before you start writing your mouth. I mean, for example, Kevin Sabet is a part of Smart Approaches to Marijuana out of Virginia. And they just put $1.5 million into the, what was it called again? The referendum for recreational marijuana. Now, everything I'm reading and what I have done into the research of this referendum is literally out of the Gore files from the 1930s. Literally out of it. Nothing new. Christos. What's up, Christos? You gave me your Telegram. I don't use Telegram. Probably should, but I don't. I use Discord and Patreon, and that's it. Basically, what it is I live by that saying: if you have a problem with me, text me. If you don't have my number, then you don't know me well enough to have a problem. Basically, what I'm saying is I only do certain communications with certain people, and Telegram's not one I use. Sorry. But yeah, why is a Virginia group helping out a Massachusetts group? I don't understand that one bit. I think Virginia needs to butt out. I think Virginia needs to do its research. I think Massachusetts needs to do its research into what it's saying. But that's just me personally. Now, with all that being stated, I am wondering about something that does not have to do with this, but does have to do with the DEA. Now, I'm going to go and just go look this up real fast to see what's going on with that. Alrighty. So it kicked off yesterday in the second day of the DEA hearing on proposed marijuana rescheduling. Alright, we're going to go directly to DEA.gov. The DEA announces interested parties for upcoming marijuana scheduling hearing on April 28, 2026. Acting Attorney General issued a notice hearing on the notice of proposed rulemaking to transfer marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substance Act. See Schedule of Controlled Substances, yada yada yada, National Drug and Alcohol, blah 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 blah. The hearing on the NPRM is scheduled to commence June 29th, blah 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 blah. Let's go read this again. Alrighty. What the fuck? Okay, that's no concern. Alright, what date is this? Nope, that's the same one. Louisiana wanted to withdraw from the hearing. Louisiana withdrew. They have nothing going on right now as far as other than they have been talking about it. I have seen no updates. I don't know what's going on with it. The DEA is being very tight-lipped about this. But let me tell you what I think should happen. I think the DEA needs to own up to their fuck-ups from the 1930s, back when they were Federal Bureau of Narcotics. I also think that they need to correct their fuck-ups from when they created the Controlled Substance Act under Harry J. Anslinger. Now, what should happen with me stating all that is that marijuana should be over, the Marijuana Taxation Act and the Controlled Substance Act, the marijuana portion should be overturned, and they should be completely and utterly removed from the scheduling. Marijuana should be completely taken off of the Controlled Substance Act. Now, that being stated, it should be placed under a sin tax. Now, I also know that it can't be completely taken off the controlled substance. It's going to be most likely scheduled as a Schedule 3. Which is alright. That's fine. Let it be a Schedule 3 all at once. Just place it under a sin tax and let it be recreational. Okay. That's a lot of money in taxes. That's a lot of money in tourism. That can actually fix this country's economy. Now, of course, you have certain laws like driving under the influence, no openly smoking out on blah, 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 unless you're in a designated area, blah, blah, blah. You know, the standard bullshit. But what you don't do is you don't try to recriminalize it. You don't mess with it like that. That's just downright low and dirty. Okay. Downright low and dirty, and that's just a bunch of racists trying to enforce racist laws from the 1930s. Not realizing that's what they're doing. I mean, it's not that hard to realize that Massachusetts is making a mistake of what they're doing. It's not that hard to just realize that the DEA is just playing games. It's not that hard. What's really sad is that we as Americans are just listening to all the bullshit. I'm going to be honest, I'm out here trying to spread the truth, trying to cast out the truth and all that stuff. I actually have a podcast script for a 12-episode podcast about the criminalization of marijuana. And 3 episodes alone are about the racist Harry J. Anslinger and his discriminatory and racist actions and comments. Before we even get to the actual congressional hearing to pass the Marijuana Taxation Act of 1937. All right, that's just before we get to that racial bit. So, reality is marijuana is illegal because of racism. Downright to it. And Massachusetts is just going to keep that going if they pass this where marijuana is no longer recreationally legal. They passed it in 2016 to be recreationally legal. Now they're saying they don't want a pot shop on every corner. I do. Within reason, of course, not around schools, daycares, jails, places like that. You know, you got to have some reasonality with it. But I do want to be able to just go down like maybe a block or two and, you know, this one dispensary doesn't have what I want. This dispensary might, oh shit, they do. Cool. Or if not, you go down a little bit and find one that does. I would like that. I would like that a lot. But, you know, no one listens to what the citizens actually want. They just think they know what the citizens want. They say they got enough signatures on a petition to get it on the November ballot in Massachusetts. Do the citizens actually know what they were writing, what they were signing for? No, promise you they don't. But you can't tell these people that. These people, these politicians think they know what's best and they'll do any dirty trick to get what they need. And unfortunately, some of us have to pay for their dirty tricks. So, y'all are against what's happening in the country, specifically Massachusetts and with the DEA, and you want them to just turn around and just decriminalize the shit in general and make it legal. Do something about it. Write petitions. Stand up. Do something. Because marijuana is illegal because of racism from the 1930s. And it's our time to turn around and fix it. Or is everyone too scared to stand up to corruption these days? That seems to be the case. Anyway, guys, I'm off. Don't forget to smoke responsibly, enjoy responsibly, and live life to its fullest.